Hello, and welcome to this morning Shabbat message with Dillird, with me, Dillird Q. Thurman. Shalom. Christians and Muslims are also welcome. We are all one human race, except we're cut above. We're chosen and we're set above and apart from you. You don't mind, do you? You believe in our God. I understand. That's wonderful. I love that. I love that. Allah is Yahweh. You Catholics are adorable, saying that Allah Allah isn't Yahweh. Isn't Allah is Yahweh? No. Someone tell me whether or not Allah is Yahweh, because I'm pretty sure He is. I don't know. I don't understand. Paganism is like Nazi. It's a word made up by Jews to denigrate the goyim, the goyim, the goyim, and so like I don't like that. I don't like. It reminds me of cis. They keep making up words to describe just like natural, normal, and happy, or not happy, natural, normal, and healthy. I mean, I guess that would result in a happy life. Oh, I see Pajeets everywhere now. Everything is crumbling. Well, we brought them there. There's no sense in not getting along with your brethren. We're all, you're all goyim, you're all Edom, you're all one in Christ. Yeah, we're all one in Christ, right? So it's the Muslims. They don't they believe in Muhammad. Mohammed. There is a town in Illinois named Mohammed. I wonder if it's a derivation of Mohammed. Probably. That's kind of weird. But Salem is like New Salem. You see Salems all over the place. That comes from Jerusalem. So, I mean, America, from its inception, you know what's interesting is that there was New France and New Amsterdam, and there's like an Old Zealand. I just learned this in Dane. Where do the Dutch live? Daneland. That's how retarded I am. There's a Zealand. There's an Old Zealand. So the Dutch found New Zealand. I was always wondering where the Zealand was. But then the Freemasons came and renamed everything on behalf of Jews. And then the Mormons came and they got in on the grift. I don't see how Christianity, I don't see how anything that comes from the Jews a positive identity for us. Like, your enemy creates an identity for you apart from your racial identity, which is immutable and has lasted you the ages, but has, kind of, sort of, been in the background because Western world, up until, 300 years ago, has just been white people. And so they've been slaughtering us, for quite some time, and diminishing our numbers. So, and then replacing us with blacks, with all sorts of non-white undesirables. How is it that we shouldn't have a solidarity with our racial kind? Someone answer me. Because Christ existed, but the proof shows that He didn't. So people that tell you that Christ is the truth because they have faith and just they have invested in that identity, it's just, you might as well just be mad at me for not liking the Giants, the football team. You don't like the Dolphins? You don't like Christ? It's the same thing as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it's not the same thing, but it's just it's just as arbitrary. Because, like, yeah, we're both white men. Like, we should be on the same side. And how they divide us is through mind control. There's a left and there's a right. Okay. Even there's people on the left that love Christ. How do you explain that? Oh, well, they're not Catholic. They're not. Okay, well, they are Catholic. So what now? Some of them are Catholic. Oh, well, they're not the real Catholic. Okay. And how aren't they the real Catholic? Oh, well, they're Philo-Semites. They love Jews. They just go along with whatever Jews say. So, and you do something different. Yes, we adhere to the tradition of the church. And we are actually anti-Semite. You obey the mandates of a Jewish priest class, but you're anti-Semite. You know, Catholicism was the first step. It encapsulated our ways and everything, and that's how they took over Europe through the kings. And slowly they just enforced the hierarchy even more and more. They drained the places of money, and kings would actually like crawl hand and knee to the Pope for favors and like funding and permission and all this kind of stuff. So they were totally subservient. They broke the king and the royalty of these places, and they had been doing that since Egypt. But in Egypt, they were the Hyksos. The Jews were the Hyksos, and they just assumed the throne through subversive means. Anyways, so, and then siphoned the wealth of the nation of Egypt toward them before the Exodus, which was actually an expulsion. So, Lebanon recently and 109 before that, but add Egypt, because that was an expulsion. So, actually, and there's another place too recently that expelled the Jews. So that's like 110. So plus Egypt in the ancient world is 111. 111 countries, nations, or whatever expelled the Jews for their subversive activity, and they were doing it in Rome. And they wrote their books, and they wrote their replacement religion, and they invented a man named Jesus Christ, who was actually Judas Chrestus, who was an insurrectionist, a Jewish supremacist insurrectionist. And if you look at the actual history of the time, the crucifixion is a punishment reserved for insurrectionists, people trying to overthrow the government through violence, terrorists. If Jesus had existed, he would have been a terrorist. Oh, well, he was just out there preaching peacefully. Not if he was crucified. You think the Romans would, it's like, oh, this is a peaceful man, not trying to overthrow the government. We'll just execute him in the same way that we execute all these criminal terrorist insurrectionists. I wonder if my audio is going through. There's nobody in here. It's just, I don't know. I'm kind of annoyed by the whole thing, and if I lose subscriber because people just can't, they're not interested in truth, and they see that this Jewish psyop from 200 years ago, 300, from 1,000 years ago is, it was in full swing like 1,000 years ago. 999 was like, they had taken over, they had completely taken over, like up into Germania and Ireland. All those places had been converted to Jewish rule. I mean, Roman rule. All the popes are Jewish. All the popes are Jewish. Like, they're either crypto or they're Mishlings, or, there was a based pope that met with Hitler at some point during that era. Okay. Whatever. Most of the saints were Jews themselves. Ignatius Loyola of the Jesuits. You say this to Catholics and they're just like, it has no faith. Like, you're anti-Semitic, but Thomas Aquinas was Jewish. I like Thomas Aquinas. It's like, whatever. It really is just at some point the right wing flipped, and assumed the same tactics, the Alinskyite tactics of the left, because the left would like confound you with like statements like that would like result in this kind of facial expression. It's just like all men should die. Yeah, like there's no conversation there. Like yeah, that's the point. The point is that there's no conversation. We just get to say our thing, and we have institutional power. It's a way of winning. It's like I get a like it's a fraudulent and like indirect backhanded win that in the end kind of is counter to your goals. Yeah, like so what? Jesus was a Jew. Or just endlessly Jesus wasn't a Jew just because I said so. Let's look at there's it just my point is that there's no examination of the facts, objective reasoning, evidence-based reasoning. It's just because if we adhered to what the West is really built off of, which is evidence-based truth statements arrived at through like a scientific method, not scientism. The Frank Boasian out of Africa theory is scientism. You just believe it because scientists said so. Well, I just believe this because priests said so. And priests just believe that because literally Jews said so. Now we have a priest class. And yeah, like with Protestantism, they took out the Gentile middle management of Catholicism, like the priests, the Irish Catholic priests and everything, Italian priests, whatever. White Gentile priests, and now people they just go directly to their Levins and their Savages and their Ben Shapiros. They go directly to, and they've bypassed it by making it all just political, and they don't have to have any apologetics. Catholics are endlessly like, oh well, I don't know. I know it's true because faith and my brain won't let me think otherwise because I've invested my identity into this religion, and all my friends are, and it's like there's a structure there. I know the arguments for doing it. I'm just I'm just perfectly fine with being alone, I guess. Not really, but and it's just like, well, don't you want a community and stuff? Don't you want to meet I don't want to have the arguments. You can tell, I'm not very amenable to going along with bullshit. All bullshit. I just don't like it. So there's the community aspect, I understand, but I'm not going to take the poison pill. There's a poison M&M. There's one M&M in this entire bowl made of poop. And chances are you won't get it. Well, that's not a very good analogy. But why we don't base our knowledge on just because Jews say so. And that's not how Catholics, of course, frame it. There's an entire history. I think that's how the modern world today has how they've achieved this state of basically collapse or degeneracy. Is that like, oh well, if you look at your ancestors, they were Christians too. It's like, yeah, but go back further. You're dishonorable. You're dishonoring your and we don't even have a word for beyond that, pagan. But like I said in the beginning, pagan is like Nazi. It's just it's an insult. It's a you get to have a false identity, or a negative identity. You're a Nazi. You're a pagan. You're a cisgendered male. So they're going further. Why even be a Protestant? Why even be like a liberal ecclesiast? What is the other ones? I don't know. Why even have religion when you can just adopt the new thing, which is an outgrowth of religion? I don't see how anybody can honestly read about communism and conclude that it didn't come out of Catholicism. Christendom was the first communism. Like the structure was there, the societal structure was there. Like if someone doesn't believe or expresses a doubt of doctrine, and and they're not persuaded by the bishop or the priest or whatever, then they get thrown in jail or something. They're taken out of society. The same with those who disagreed with the Communist Party. So, if people want to go back to the monarchy, it's just another form of communism, basically. The bones of it, the structure of it, the essential components. Just call it by a different name. I believe that the ancient world was sort of loosely ruled by the Druids. We know that the Druids existed, and that Jews probably, most likely, derived their name from 1673 where the name Jew was coined at that time, and it probably comes from the yew tree. If you look at all the churches in Europe, they're on the sites of pagan churches. A lot of the times they had been converted to pagan churches, and they're all built by a yew tree because the yew tree was holy to the original religion spread by the Druids, and the Druids were stratified by the names of trees that they found that they considered holy, like the oak tree and the yew tree. So yew was the highest class, just like Levi. Well, I guess Levi is the name of the whole priest class. I don't know, but just like different stages of Freemasonry, it's all structured off of what we know about the Druids, which is very little. And that's why we have to go through the etymology. This should really be on my Dillird Q Thurman channel. I'm gonna end this. Oh, see ya, BP. BB, please. I'm gonna end it now.